Supreme Court immigration ruling, America's defining moment. This is not just another headline. This is history unfolding before our eyes. The Supreme Court of the United States has just issued one of the most consequential immigration rulings in decades, a judgment that will shape how America defines justice, fairness, and enforcement in the years ahead. Legal scholars are already calling it a watershed moment, a decision that rebalances power between the federal government, immigration agencies, and the millions of immigrants whose lives hang in the balance. And for families, workers, and communities across the nation, this isn't politics. This is survival, the case that changed everything. To understand the weight of this decision, let's step back. For years, one fundamental question has divided the nation. Who controls immigration enforcement, Washington policymakers, or field officers on the ground? At the heart of this legal battle was a simple but life-changing dilemma. Should every undocumented immigrant be treated exactly the same, regardless of their history or behavior? Or should the federal government have the power to set priorities, focusing on genuine threats to public safety while sparing long-term residents, parents, and workers who have lived peacefully for years? That question escalated into lawsuits, political battles, and finally, it reached the highest court in the land. And now, the Supreme Court has answered. The landmark decision. In a 6-3 ruling, the court affirmed that the federal government does indeed have the authority to set its own immigration enforcement priorities. That means Washington can decide where resources go, whether targeting dangerous felons, fraudsters, or national security risks, rather than wasting manpower on parents, students, or workers with no criminal background. But here's the critical point. The court also made it clear that this authority is not unlimited. Every enforcement action, from arrests to deportations, must remain within constitutional limits. Due process, fair hearings, and accountability are not optional. They are now the standard. This ruling creates a new balance, firm enforcement combined with constitutional safeguards. Why this matters? Let's put it into perspective. Imagine two individuals. One is an undocumented man with a violent felony conviction. The other is a mother of two, living in the U.S. for 15 years, paying taxes, staying out of trouble, and raising American-born children. Should both face the exact same treatment under immigration law? Until now, enforcement often didn't distinguish between the two. The system operated like a blunt instrument, treating everyone the same, regardless of risk. The Supreme Court has now drawn a line. Enforcement must be smarter, fairer, and more humane. What the decision really means. This isn't about opening borders. This isn't about ending enforcement. It's about targeting resources wisely. The federal government now has the legal authority to focus on what matters most. Public safety, national security, fairness, and humanity. Blanket enforcement, where everyone is treated the same, is over. The court has made clear, America must enforce the law, but enforce it the right way. A new standard of fairness. For years, immigrant rights advocates have said, enforcement should not equal fear. Now, the Supreme Court has echoed that belief. From this point forward, immigration enforcement cannot be about blanket crackdowns. It must balance security with dignity. The ruling also affirms that programs like DACA, if lawfully designed, are legitimate tools of immigration policy. That means humanitarian protections can survive and even expand under this framework. This single clarification may shift thousands of immigration cases in the coming months and years. Immediate ripple effects. So what happens now? The impact is enormous. Let's break it down. 1. Deportation proceedings. Deportations will slow down. Not end, but slow, as agencies review existing cases. People in ongoing proceedings will now have stronger due process protections. No more rushed removals without hearings or appeals. 2. Enforcement focus. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, USCIS, and DHS now have backing from the highest court to prioritize real threats. Violent offenders, fraudsters, and national security cases will take center stage. Families with deep community ties and clean records will fall into a low-priority category. 3. Humanitarian programs. By reaffirming executive authority, the court essentially validated the government's power to create and manage humanitarian programs like DACA. While it doesn't guarantee expansion, it protects the legal foundation of such initiatives. The short-term reality. This ruling won't transform the system overnight. Agencies will need weeks or even months to rewrite policy manuals, retrain officers, and review active cases. During this transition, expect delays in deportation cases, paused or reopened cases that were previously low priority, uncertainty as new rules roll out. Immigration attorneys are warning, now is the time to be vigilant. Every hearing, every notice, every deadline counts. Missing even one appointment could ruin your case, regardless of this new ruling. Legal guidance is no longer optional. It's essential, clearing up the confusion. Let's be clear on what this ruling does not do. It does not grant green cards. It does not expand visa quotas. It does not stop deportations altogether. What it does is guarantee constitutional oversight. Every arrest, every deportation, every ruling must now respect due process. That's the difference between a system that simply enforces laws and a system that upholds justice. National reaction. The country is sharply divided in its response. Immigrant advocates are celebrating, calling this a civil rights milestone. They say it's proof that America can secure its borders while respecting human dignity. Critics, on the other hand, are warning that this decision could slow enforcement, clog courts, and weaken deterrence. They argue it could embolden illegal immigration. But one truth is undeniable. This ruling forces both sides to confront reality. America needs a modern, balanced immigration system. What comes next? This case could reignite the push for comprehensive immigration reform in Congress. Lawmakers are now under pressure to update outdated laws, reduce backlogs, and create consistent standards nationwide. Meanwhile, federal agencies will spend months rewriting internal rules and facing potential lawsuits as they adjust. The fight isn't over. In fact, the political battles may only intensify, but the tone has changed. The conversation has shifted from punishment to precision, from fear to fairness. What immigrants should do now? If you or someone you know is in the immigration system, here's what matters most. Stay updated on every USCIS announcement or DHS memo. Keep all documents, receipts, and notices organized. Never miss a biometrics or court appointment. Above all, get professional legal advice. Do not rely on rumors, random social media posts, or unverified videos. This ruling opens opportunities, but only for those who act lawfully and carefully. Every case is different. Every family is unique. Protect your future with knowledge and preparation. Hope in the road ahead. This ruling doesn't solve every problem in U.S. immigration, but it does something powerful. It restores hope. Hope that justice still matters. Hope that families won't be torn apart without due process. Hope that the immigration system is slowly returning to a standard of humanity and fairness. For millions who have lived quietly, worked hard, and raised families in America, this moment is more than a court case. It's validation. It's dignity. And while the larger fight for reform continues, the Supreme Court has drawn a clear line. Immigration enforcement must be constitutional, accountable, and compassionate. That is America's defining moment. Final thoughts. If you found this breakdown helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe to USA Alert Zone, and turn on the bell icon so you never miss critical immigration updates. Your future may depend on it.